So today I've cooked up a build that you can use to squeeze out that last bit of juice, last bit of LP of Season 13. Say that you're just a bit short of either reaching gold or platinum or whatever you're inspired to reach. You could use this build to reliably and surely get that LP. So this build is a combination of family, ambushers, and scrap, and it works so good because Powder is extremely overpowered this season, and she is also very contested, but this is a good thing, because if you do go for this build, I would not recommend 3-starring your family units. Keep Powder, Violet, and Vander 2-starred because you're not really gonna be getting that big of a power spike from 3-starring them. Okay, Vander is actually pretty damn decent to 3-star, but besides that, I would just stick to a 2-star. Now, I have made several versions of this build, depending on what rank you are. So if you are, say, gold or below, I would recommend hardforcing this specific version every single game. If you're a bit higher than gold, say platinum or maybe emerald, you're gonna need to be a little bit more flexible with the build because, well, you cannot just hardforce a build to really consistently gain LP when you're above those ranks. That's my opinion, at least. I tested this myself, and I tested it in Emerald, and I had just about 70% win rate on it throughout close to 10 games, and I even promoted. So this works. It works in Emerald, so it's also going to work earlier on. Well, in lower ranks, okay? Powder is the bread and butter of this build. She is completely overpowered, and she is what carries this all the way to level 9. Now, you can build a lot of different things on her, but there is 3 items that I would recommend that you use. I would always recommend that you go for a Nash's Tooth, combined with a Spear of Shojin. I do really like this combination of mana regeneration and attack speed. I just feel like it provides the most consistent source of mana regeneration. Now, you could swap out Nash's 2 for Rage Blade if you wanted to, but remember, you need to hit 9 times before the attack speed gain is even on par. So I don't think it's worth to go for Rage Blade, but you could if you wanted to. The third item is a little bit up to debate. I tend to not go for Dual Gauntlet because we have ambushers, so I like to either go for Rabadon's Death Cap or perhaps an Archangel Staff. Both are excellent. Now, early on, you want to itemize your Vander, and you want to itemize him with whatever tank items you're gonna get. I would, however, recommend to try and get Ionic Spark. I would recommend for you to get Ionic Spark every single game if it's possible. You could also go for Static Shift to get that shred, but I just feel like Ionic Spark is a better item. And then you're just gonna throw on whatever fits, right? Say it's some Redemption and maybe, I don't know, Warmox, whatever, right? So you just slam that. I should also note that if you don't know, Powder's ability actually provides grievous wounds, so you don't need to get a Sunfire Escape on your tank units. You can if you want to, but I don't think it's worth. Whatever items you're gonna get besides this should be tank items for frontline, and go to items for Jinx. Now, the ideal items for Jinx, in my opinion, is gonna be, what's this called? Death something? Dominators, I think. Why is my PC crashing? Okay, we're back. You want to go for Dominators, you want to go for Spear of Shojin, and this is going to sound weird, but I actually enjoy going for another Nash's Tooth, but you could also go for whatever else attack speed item that you want. This is going to be the ideal build. Before you reach level 9 and you get your Jinx, you could take these items and put it on Smeech and then just remove it later on. That would be perfectly fine. I should also quickly note that once you get Elise 2, it's going to be better for you to take the items and put on Elise instead of Vander. Now, this only goes if you have not 3-starred Vander. If Vander is 3-starred, then keep the items on him. But I tend to not 3-star him because he is often very contested. And then I'm just going to put the items on Elise. Okay, this next part is going to be for everyone that's above gold, where you're going to need a little bit more flexibility. Now, this is still your base comp, but sometimes you're not finding the units that you want, or sometimes you're going to get a family quest, or you're going to get, say, an econ augment, right? So if you get, what's it called, prismatic ticket, is that what it's called? Or Pandora's bench, or anything else that can really help you regenerate, or purchase a lot of units, then you want to freestar your units, okay? So if you do go and freestar them, let me just move up the build here. So this is one version of the build that you could do if you're completely uncontested on family, and if you're lucky enough to get a reroll augment, okay? This version of the build is also very, very good, but it requires a little bit more of strategic thinking. You're gonna need to manage your economy better, but it is also a little bit stronger. What you're gonna go for is pretty much the same thing, Powder as being your ultimate carry, okay? She's just gonna annihilate teams if you go for this, and you can get it on very, very early. I should also note that if you do go for this build, then you're gonna need to make sure that your items on Vandor is excellent. You should also, if you can, take some items and put on Violet. That could either be something like... Why do my computer keep crashing when I go down here? Okay, that could, for instance, be something like this. This is also a very, very valid build. If you can get Jinx, then do that. But if not, fine. The last true variation of this build I would recommend is going to be... Let me do some magic here. This is the last version of the build that I would truly recommend that you're going to go for. This version of the build works incredibly well if you do get a family emblem. You want to take that emblem and you want to put it on Jinx, and just to really buff Jinx's damage, you want to put in Rebel as well. Please notice that I have removed the free stars from Vandor, Violet, and Powder, and that's just because at this point, it's not really worth it to maximize your utility with these units. It's better to just get Jinx running as early as humanly possible. I should also note that any sort of flexibility can really work with this build. So if you are above gold, you are, and you have proven that you are smart enough to make decisions on the fly. So please do alter this version of the build as much as you want. Your base really just is this family and Powder, and trust me, it works so well. Personally, I could see myself go for, take out take out Trundle, take out GP, and then put in, say, Victor and Warwick. This would work fine just as well. It might even be better if you're lucky enough to find both of them. I have very rarely reached level 10 with this build, and that's because of the augment choices. And I'm gonna tell you all about the augments in just a second. For augments, I would always recommend that you go for combat augments, because this is sort of a contesting kind of build where you are not really trying to freestar or anything, and you're not trying to reach anything crazy. You just want to Jinx at level 9 and you want them to start 1 and 2 cost units. I would always recommend that you go for combat augments. Now, if you do go for the family reroll build where you freestar everything, then of course go for an econ, but make sure that you're uncontested if you do that. If you are contested, which I do believe that you will be, go for combat augments. My personal favorite is Spirit Link. I love the augments that keep my team alive, and that's because the way that Jinx and Powder works is that they're very scaly, right? So they need to wind up. So if you can get your team to survive for, say, 15 to 20 seconds, then you're almost guaranteed to win just because of the pure pressure those two units bring on their own. So you would just want your front line to survive as much as humanly possible. And that's why I think Spirit Link or anything like that is incredible. A very noteworthy exception to this would be Pandora's items. Pandora's items is also very good. It's not a combat augment per se, but it really helps you get all of the right items and get them earlier. So if you get Pandora's items, get a Spear Surgeon, get an Ashes Tooth, and then just start slamming tank items, and you're gonna be very, very healthy throughout the entire game. The last augment I truly want to point out is Mana Flow 2. Mana Flow has excellent value with both Jinx and Powder as well, just because they're gonna hit a lot and they're gonna have a lot of attack speed from those Nash's Tooths. You get the point. They're gonna have a lot of attack speed, and so they're gonna get really good usage out of this. Your anomalies don't really need that much attention. You really want to spend the gold trying to get level 9 as soon as possible to find your Jinx. So there is never a scenario where it's going to be worth it for you to just spend 40 gold trying to hit something. That being said, if there is 2 anomalies that I would choose to be the go-to anomalies, then those would be Kill Streak, which is gain 30 mana on each kill, and the last one would be, let me find it, the other one would be Brutal Claws. Brutal Claws works super good with this build as well, just because it gives a shit ton of crit, and then it makes your crits bleed. And with Jinx and with Powder, that takes some time to really get going. You want every single bit of damage that you can get, and I think this is one of the best options. Now, if you cannot get that, any damage anomaly will do. So if you have Jinx, put in some AD anomaly. If you have Powder, put in AP as an anomaly. And well, it also really depends on what build that you've gone for, right? If you have those items, that is an Nash's Tooth and Spirit of Sojin, then you don't need any more mana regeneration on either of them. But if you don't have that, then you could go for either mana or attack speed, depending on what you need. These should really be viewed as very, very flexible. I just wanted to pinpoint 2 of them, just in case if you were wondering what you should do here. If you have Jinx, then always use your anomaly on her first, and then Powder second. If you don't have Jinx on the first anomaly round, then put in Powder and make her really strong. There might be a scenario where you do not have Jinx yet for the last anomaly round, and if that's the case, then just buff your tank. Right? Huge frontline. It's fine. You can go for the 1k health one. You can go for the root one. You can pretty much choose whatever. But if you do have both of them and decent tank items, I would recommend that you're gonna go to upgrade both of them with each of their anomalies. If it isn't obvious and you don't know this for some reason, then yeah, on this patch there is 2 anomaly rounds, so that's good. So that's pretty much it. I hope that you're gonna go out and you're gonna try this build, and please come back to the video and let me know how you did. Again, let me just remind everyone, if you are diamond or higher, please do not try to hardforce anything, because you're always going to get clapped. But this works really well if you're lower elo than that. If you want a more in-depth version, a more in-depth guide where I play a little bit, I do have a video coming, which is one of the pre-games that I had when trying to get the B-roll for this video, and of course try if it works. The video is, however, edited by my girlfriend, so it might be a little bit different than what you're used to, but it should still be good. She is a professional after all, so help. And a quick advertisement: when Season 14 hits, I'm gonna do everything in my power to reach Masters or maybe even Grandmasters, and if you are interested in that, please give me a little bit of a subscribe so I can also reach the 200 subscribers, if you know what I mean. Alright, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys later.